Welcome back, survivor. If you can hear this, it means you're still alive. This is Jack's Nightmares, and this is your next story. My name is Daniel Kostas. I'm 25 years old. I was born in Thessaloniki, in northern Greece, and raised in a state-run orphanage after both of my parents died from sepsis during a bacterial outbreak at City General when I was 6. They were ordinary people. My mother a receptionist at the university hospital. My father a municipal clerk. Neither one had the money or influence to jump the ICU line when the antibiotics ran short. After their deaths, I was placed in one of the larger children's homes near Langadas Road, a concrete facility with too many cots and not enough staff. I learned early that if you wanted to get out, you had to stand out. I studied hard. Languages came easy. Sciences not so much, but I powered through. By 16, I'd secured a scholarship to finish school in Vienna, part of a small exchange initiative for high-achieving students from the Balkans. From there, it was the University of Amsterdam for pre-med, then a 2-year research internship in Utrecht. I studied bioethics and neurovirology, and by some miracle, or maybe pure determination, I landed a competitive spot at Columbia University's College of Physicians and Surgeons. That brought me to New York. The past few months I've been in the city completing my final rotation through Columbia Presbyterian's emergency department. Between the homeless crisis, budget cuts, and rising infections from new resistant strains, it's been relentless. I work nights mostly, split between trauma admits and intake triage. I wasn't even supposed to be flying out this early, but something changed last week. Something in the air. It started with whispers, closures in certain subway stations, a blackout at Woodhull, a rushed transfer of some experimental patients to Bellevue under federal oversight. Then came the protests. At first it was just noise downtown, frustration about funding for a private biotech firm called Veltrixis Global. They had been contracted to run viral resistance trials through the city's emergency pandemic infrastructure. That meant access to hospitals, medical records, and in some cases, patients with little say in the matter. Their name had already come up in a few ethics briefings, concerns about transparency, off-site storage of biological material, and their use of synthetic viral analogues for field simulation. Some said they were working on a universal vaccine platform. Others said it was something closer to neuromodulation, a side project for DARPA. Either way, they had clearance, and nobody at our level questioned it too hard. But then came the foreign reports. In Moldova, a rural clinic went silent for a week after hosting a Veltrixis trial team. In Argentina, a university lab burned down following student demonstrations. In northern Nigeria, villagers began fleeing entire districts after what some local outlets called form of plague infection were observed in previously infected patients. Veltrixis denied involvement in all of it. They cited sabotage, misattribution, misinformation. But inside the hospital, the tone changed. Orders began arriving with redacted fields. Temporary transfers to quarantine zones were sealed with government stamps I'd never seen before. Even the most senior physicians started whispering. So I booked the earliest ticket I could get. I told my attending I was flying home to Greece for family reasons. Truthfully, I just wanted out before whatever was happening became permanent. My flight was scheduled to leave from Terminal 4 at JFK. I arrived 3 hours early, but by then, the lines were already backed up past the turnstiles. And something wasn't right. They weren't just checking passports anymore. Now I'm standing here, shoulder to shoulder with exhausted strangers, our luggage untouched, our phones silent, our tickets irrelevant. There's no overhead announcement, no display boards, just a faint static hum from the sealed glass windows above the gates and the rhythmic clicking of a black handheld scanner being passed over wrists. The man using it isn't airline staff. He's wearing a grey suit, no lanyard, no company pin. The badge clipped to his belt is blank except for a small barcode. No name, no department, just a barcode. He doesn't make eye contact, doesn't answer questions. If you ask him something twice, you don't get a second look. You get pulled aside. 2 men in navy uniforms, not TSA, guide you behind a plastic divider near gate 23. Nobody comes back out. The woman in front of me asked if her child could use the restroom. He didn't respond, just waved the scanner again and pointed to the floor. She backed down. Everyone backs down. Whatever this is, it's not a checkpoint. It's not a drill. It's something else. Something coordinated, controlled, and absolutely not normal. I'm recording this on my phone, audio only, with the mic tucked behind the collar of my jacket. If you're hearing this, that means the message was uploaded. That means I got out, or that someone found this and thought it mattered. I don't know what's happening yet, but I think we're past containment. I think this is the beginning of something much bigger, and I think Veltrixis knew it was coming. One by one, people get scanned and pointed toward a side hallway near the loading dock. I've counted 9 so far. Not a single one has come back. Nobody knows where they're going. Most assume it's another checkpoint. A few are whispering now. A man with a Brazilian passport asked if this was still part of customs. No one answered him. When it's my turn, I step forward without saying anything. I've seen how asking questions gets you nowhere. I hold out my wrist. He scans it. Beep. Then he looks at my passport, frowns for a second, types something on his tablet, and says flatly, "You'll be taken to a nearby health facility for clearance." That doesn't make sense. I've already cleared customs. I passed the thermal check at the gate. I've had no contact with anyone sick. I'm in the final year of a medical program and spent the last week working under strict hospital protocol. I tell him all of that. He repeats the line word for word. "You'll be taken to a nearby health facility for clearance." He gestures to the same hallway the others went down. There's no visible armed presence yet, but it doesn't feel optional. I follow. 2 other travelers. One woman in a long coat, another guy clutching a backpack, trail behind me. We don't talk. Not here. The hallway smells like disinfectant and jet fuel. We're led through a side gate, onto the tarmac behind the terminal. A white bus sits waiting. No markings, just tinted windows and dull paint. There's a uniformed driver inside, hands on the wheel, not looking at any of us. A man in a tactical vest waves us forward without a word. We board. Inside, the seats are plastic and worn. Half of them are already taken. I recognize a few people from the terminal. Same flight group, mostly non-American passports. I grab a seat near the middle. A young woman 2 rows behind me leans forward after I sit. Quiet voice, Eastern European accent. She says she's from Ukraine. Her name is Oksana. Says she worked in Astoria as a live-in nanny. Her host family left the country last week and she was told to wait it out. Now she's trying to get home. She glances out the window, then leans in closer and tells me this route we're taking. It's not to a local clinic. It's heading toward the Verrazano Bridge. That means Staten Island. And if we're crossing into Jersey, it's definitely not for airport screening. She says it like a fact, not a theory. I check my phone. No signal. I open the offline maps app I keep saved for emergencies. The location pings once, Van Wyck Expressway, then drops. The Wi-Fi on board isn't real. It shows up in the list but won't connect. I try again anyway. Traffic slows as we hit the Belt Parkway. Then it crawls. Then it stops. Outside, I spot what looks like a small protest ahead. People standing across lanes with signs, blocking vehicles. At first, it seems peaceful. Then someone throws something. Not at us, but close. Paint can maybe. Yellow splash across the road. The driver jerks the bus sideways. The brakes screech. Another car rear-ends us. Hard. The force pushes everyone forward. I hit the seat in front of me with my shoulder. The woman next to me shouts in Greek. A few people scream. One man shouts something about, "You're not taking us," and rushes the front. The security guy raises a hand and tells him to sit down, but his voice is lost in the noise. Then I hear it. Coughing. Not normal coughing. Wet, ragged, repeated. From the man across the aisle. He's pale, sweating through his jacket. He stands, staggers, then collapses back into the seat. Foam builds at the corner of his mouth. His fingers twitch uncontrollably. People pull away. One woman screams. Everyone moves at once. I grab the emergency window lever. It's rusted, barely budges. I throw my full weight into it, still stuck. Miguel, a man I'd barely noticed until now, shoves a tire iron under the frame. With a crack, the latch pops and the window comes free. I climb out first. Oksana follows. Then Priya, a nurse I met briefly earlier, is helped out with a limp. Miguel follows last, dragging a backpack. We jump the concrete barrier and drop onto the embankment. Mud clings to our shoes. Sirens echo behind us. Somewhere further back, a gunshot. Then another. I don't stop to look. We run, half crouched, moving parallel to the road. I see a chain link fence up ahead. It's partially torn, like a car smashed through it days ago. On the other side is a commercial strip. Auto parts, a pharmacy, a bodega with half its letters burned out. We aim for the pharmacy. The metal security gate is jammed halfway open. The glass door behind it is intact, but the top corner is cracked. Miguel forces it with his shoulder. We slip inside one by one, then pull a shelf in front of the entrance. It's dark. The emergency lights are on, flickering. The air smells like old bleach and cardboard. I check the back area for movement. Nothing. No alarms. No footsteps. Just faint traffic noise in the distance. It's probably the only reason this place hasn't been looted. Yet. Priya sits on the floor, her face tight. She says her ankle's twisted, maybe sprained. Oksana finds a flashlight behind the counter. Miguel checks the back door, deadbolted and blocked with a mop bucket and a broken chair. It'll hold for now. I take a knee beside Priya and start examining her leg. Swelling, tenderness, limited mobility. I find an ACE wrap in the first aid section and start bandaging. No one talks much. Everyone's breathing hard. No one wants to ask what's going on. But we all know this isn't about a simple infection anymore. This whole setup, false health screening, no federal agents, fake routes, it wasn't random. Someone planned this. The man who started convulsing. I don't know what stage he was in, but it wasn't flu. It looked neurological. Something was inside him, pushing through, trying to take control. I've seen rabies once. This was worse. I keep my phone off to save battery. No power strips in sight. The pharmacy's backup system is still providing minimal light, but the outlets are dead. We need a power source, food, a plan. But first we wait. The street outside is too exposed. Anyone looking to scavenge would see the broken gate. We stay silent for the next hour, maybe more. Time drags inside places like this, where the only movement is the flicker of emergency lights and the quiet shifting of people trying to stay calm. I sit with my back against a rack of allergy meds, staring across the aisle at an overturned shopping cart. The building creaks occasionally. I think the heating system is still trying to cycle air through the ducts, but there's no noise from outside. Not a car, not a voice. That's worse than noise. Miguel keeps glancing between the door and the front display windows. He doesn't speak much, but I get the sense he's been through things before. His jacket's oil-stained, patched in places, and the wrench in his hand never leaves his grip. Priya sits against the far wall with her foot elevated, bandaged up. She hasn't complained once. She's tired but alert. Oksana has taken over the flashlight and is pacing slow laps along the aisle ends, not going far, just staying in motion. When I finally risk turning on my phone, I keep it in airplane mode. I kill every background process I can find. The battery reads 32%. The clock says 4:43. That's East Coast time. Means we've been inside the pharmacy for roughly 5 hours. I enable Wi-Fi, check for anything usable. One unsecured network shows up, Netgear guest, but signal strength is weak and it won't assign an IP. I try a manual reconnect 3 times. Still nothing. I switch off the screen and look around. There's a small portable radio near the register. Dust-covered, cheap plastic. I check the batteries. AAA. Dead. I grab a new pack from a shelf nearby and replace them, careful not to let the packaging make too much noise. The radio turns on with a faint buzz of static. I scan slowly. AM is a mess. Nothing but white noise and the occasional garbled voice. On FM, I pick up 2 stations. One is music, probably automated. some playlist loop with no DJ. The other is an emergency alert system broadcast, monotone voice, female, artificial sounding. It's just looping the same message. This is a civil emergency message. Please shelter in place. Report to your nearest authorized health clearance center if you are experiencing symptoms. Repeat. This is a civil emergency message. Oksana sits down beside me, watching the light blink on the radio. She listens for a full loop before saying anything. Same message they played in Lviv during the floods. Same voice. Same loops. Just different words. I nod, unsure if she expects a response. I don't have one. At 6:10, I tell Miguel we need to look for power. If we can find a car with a good battery and an inverter, we can run a short cable through the mail slot in the door and charge our phones. Maybe the radio, laptop too if needed. He agrees. Says there's an auto parts store half a block down. We saw it on the way in. Roll down gate was up, but the front door looked smashed. High risk. We wait until first light. By 6:45, it's just starting to brighten outside. Grey sky, low cloud cover, no sun. I wedge a mirror between two boxes to peek outside without exposing ourselves. The street's empty. Storefronts all look undisturbed. Far down the block there's a burned car but no people. No infected either. That doesn't make it safe. Just quiet. Miguel and I leave through the back door. I wedge a doorstop behind us so we can get back in quickly. I keep the radio on low volume in my backpack, tucked between gauze packs and a sealed water bottle. He carries the wrench, and I've got a pry bar we pulled from behind the counter. It's not balanced for fighting, but it'll break a lock or a window. We move fast, low, staying close to the storefronts. At the auto store, we find the front door hanging from one hinge. Most of the display cases are shattered, shelves picked through. No bodies, no blood. Looks like it was hit early. Still, I managed to find a 150-watt power inverter behind the counter in a locked drawer. Miguel finds a sealed 12-volt car battery near the back storage room. Heavy, awkward to carry, but usable. We hear movement from across the street as we're loading up. Someone steps on broken glass. Miguel freezes. I crouch. There's a figure, hunched, half covered in a ripped blanket. Not staggering like one of the infected. Moving slow, deliberate. Probably another survivor. I catch a glimpse of a metal bat in one hand. He doesn't look at us, doesn't call out. Just crosses the street and disappears behind a deli. Neither of us says a word. We head back. Back inside the pharmacy, I rig the inverter. Takes 20 minutes to get it running clean. I run a cable through the customer service window near the register and clamp the terminals tight. When the light turns green, I plug in my phone and set the brightness to minimum. The battery starts charging slowly. I give Priya the radio and tell her to monitor for anything new. I open the Wi-Fi settings again. The Netgear signal is back, still unsecured. This time it connects. Pages load slowly, but they load. I check Reddit first. Medical threads. Someone posted photos from Boston General, dated 12 hours ago. 6 patients in isolation with identical symptoms. Fever, trismus, swollen lymph nodes, aggressive behavior before rapid collapse. They were marked as unknown pathogen, not viral, not bacterial. Treatment with broad-spectrum antivirals failed. No name given to the condition. Someone else uploaded a leaked Veltrixis employee memo, screenshot of an internal messaging board. It talks about a temporary containment failure at a trial site in New Jersey. No mention of what the trial was for. No acknowledgement that the site exists. Just a brief statement about multiple exposure events and ongoing asset retrieval. Another reply is timestamped 3 minutes later. Do not respond further. Legal already moving on this thread. My stomach turns, not from the documents, but from the realization that these people were documenting failures before they ever made a public statement, before the so-called screening stations were even set up. We weren't detained by accident. That scan at the airport, it wasn't looking for a fever, it was logging who'd been exposed. I download everything I can and transfer it to a flash drive. Small, encrypted. I keep a backup copy on my laptop too, but power won't last forever. While the phone finishes charging, I scrounge for backup batteries. We find 4 sealed packs of AAA and 2 of AA in the store next door. Not enough for long-term use, but enough for the radio and 1 flashlight. Around midday, Priya gets a message from someone in Queens, an old nurse friend she used to work with. Just a text. It says, "Lincoln Hospital gone, staff turned, do not come here." She shows it to me without saying anything. Her hands are steady, but her eyes are empty. I don't ask for more. We eat in silence. Crackers, a can of fruit, half a bottle of orange-flavored electrolyte drink. Oksana finds a gallon jug of distilled water behind the pharmacy fridge, still sealed. That'll last us another day or 2, depending on how careful we are. She rations it out with measuring cups from the baby formula section. Late afternoon, we hear something outside. Voices. Male, aggressive, close. Someone says, "Check that one," followed by a bang on the pharmacy door. I kill the inverter. Everyone drops low. Miguel puts a hand over Priya's mouth to stop her from gasping. More footsteps. A different voice says, "Already cleared this block yesterday. Nothing here." Then silence. I peek through the side window after 5 minutes. 3 men in mismatched uniforms are walking up the street. 2 are carrying rifles. 1 has a tablet, scanning doorframes. I watch them until they're gone. I tell everyone what I saw. Miguel doesn't flinch. He just nods and says they're not local. Doesn't say how he knows. I believe him. We don't sleep that night. Not well. I get maybe 30 minutes with my head on a roll of gauze. Priya stays up longer than she should. I wake up to her rewrapping her ankle and checking the door locks. Oksana whispers something in Ukrainian in her sleep. Miguel snores once, then jerks awake and doesn't sleep again. When the sun comes back, I know we can't stay here much longer. The gate's too obvious. We've burned through half our food. The power setup is temporary. The infected haven't found us yet, but they will. And worse than them are the ones with guns and checklists who think they know how to fix this. The others don't argue. Everyone's been thinking the same thing, but no one wanted to say it out loud until the morning came. I put together the supplies we can carry: small bottles of water, basic meds, canned food, and the radio. The inverter's staying behind. Too heavy, and we don't have a vehicle to run it now. I take the flash drive from the laptop and slide it into a Velcro pouch inside my waistband, seal it tight. That data is the only proof we have that this isn't a natural outbreak. If I get caught or infected, it needs to be found. Oksana thinks there's a small urgent care center near the edge of the St. George district, close to the Staten Island ferry terminal. She saw it during her time with the family in Astoria when they visited friends here. She says it might have solar panels on the roof. If that's true, it could be our best shot at real power and shelter with doors that lock. No promises, but no better leads. Miguel and I do one more scout of the area around the pharmacy before we commit. We take side streets, stick to walls, and stop often to listen. The street to the west looks like it saw fighting recently. Burned debris, overturned newsstands, one corpse in a wheelchair that looks half-eaten. No movement around it. Still, we don't get close. To the east towards St. George, the damage thins out. More intact stores. No broken glass. Fewer cars jammed up. We pass a parked ambulance with all the doors open and no one inside. The windshield's cracked. There's dried blood on the dashboard. Glove compartment's been rifled. All the meds are gone. The gurney's missing. Looks like someone else already did what we're doing. We agree on a route. Forest Avenue to Bement, then over to Richmond Terrace. Use side streets where possible. Keep low. Avoid parks and open intersections. We return to the pharmacy, pack the bags, and move out before noon. Priya's ankle is still weak, but she can walk with a limp. We slow our pace to match hers. The walk starts quiet. Just wind, loose paper blowing around. The distant clatter of something metal falling over blocks away. We make it 2 intersections before we hear anything human. It's a voice. Male, deep and angry, shouting something about ration packs and lies. We don't stop to figure out what it means. We duck into a shuttered pawn shop and wait in silence for 10 minutes. When we move again, the voice is gone. By the time we hit the edge of the St. George zone, the signs of collapse are everywhere. Graffiti on nearly every wall, some of it warnings, some nonsense. Do not report to clearance, written in red over a billboard for cough syrup. Another wall has tally marks scratched in next to what looks like names. There are bullet holes in the glass of a bank on the corner. The smell of rot is stronger here, but we still haven't seen any infected. The urgent care building Oksana remembered is there, tucked behind a shuttered deli and a laundromat. It's 2 stories, narrow brick exterior, faded awning with Island Medical half torn off. The front door is intact but chained shut, bars over the windows. There's a narrow alley to the right. We go that way. The alley leads to a rear entrance. It's metal, dented but not breached. Miguel checks the hinges, tries the handle, locked. I pull out the pry bar. Takes 4 minutes of careful pressure to get the latch to pop without making too much noise. Inside, it's pitch black. No windows in the rear hallway. Oksana clicks the flashlight on and we step in slowly. The place was abandoned in a hurry. Paperwork everywhere. A toppled cart of syringes in the hallway. A spilled sharps container. No blood, no bodies. Just chaos. Looks like staff tried to evacuate patients but didn't finish. Exam rooms are empty. Storage closet near the back has half a case of bottled water and some sealed glucose pouches. Jackpot. On the second floor, we find the break room. There's a fridge, a microwave, a coffee maker. The fridge is useless now. No power for days. But the shelves are clean. Cabinets are locked. I pry one open and find a box of instant ramen, a few cans of soup and some snack bars. More than what we had. We'll split it up later. On the roof, we confirm the solar panels. Small setup, 4 panels wired into a battery rig. Nothing heavy duty, but enough for lights and maybe a few charges. I pop the fuse cover and check the inverter, still intact. Battery bank is low but holding a charge. The line inside is wired to a breaker box in the hallway below. That's something. We've got limited power. We settle into the second floor for now. Curtains drawn, light usage only when necessary. Miguel volunteers to stay by the rear stairwell with the flashlight and a wrench. Oksana barricades the front stairwell with an old couch we drag up from the lobby. Priya takes inventory of what meds and supplies we have left. I set up a makeshift workstation on a counter near the nurse's station. Laptop open, flash drive plugged in. Wi-Fi's dead here, not surprising. Cell towers are still pinging, though barely. I get 1 bar if I lean near the western window. Just enough to connect, but not enough for streaming or big uploads. I type up a short fact-based summary of what we've seen. Symptoms of the infected, the fake screenings, the movement of clearance teams, and the timeline from JFK to now. I encrypt it and schedule it to auto-send to 2 email addresses if I don't disable the timer in 72 hours. One is a med school colleague in Thessaloniki. The other is a Berlin professor I interned under last year. Both paranoid enough to know what to do with raw data if it comes in cold. At dusk, we hear distant gunfire. Not close, maybe 10 blocks west. 4 shots, one after the other, then a pause, then screaming, then silence. We don't go to the windows. Later, when it's completely dark, we hear something closer. Shuffling. Not heavy, not running. Just movement along pavement. Oksana checks from the second floor window using the corner of a mirror so she isn't seen. One figure, walking slowly, not dragging its feet, but definitely not alert. Its head tilts, like it's listening. No obvious wounds. Might not even be infected. Might be worse. Someone halfway there. Not sure what he is yet. We don't make noise. We wait. He passes without stopping. We sleep in shifts. Every 2 hours someone's awake. Miguel takes midnight to 2. I take 2 to 4. Priya does 4 to 6. Oksana sleeps in her jacket with her boots on, a small pocket knife under her pillow. No one argues. In the morning, we find something written on the front door in charcoal. Not spray paint, handwritten. No one gets cleared. Underneath a fingerprint. Black, smudged. Human or not, we don't know. We spend the next day rationing food, setting up a tripwire alarm on the back door using a stack of empty cans and medical tape. I run the solar line to a power strip on the second floor and charge the radio and my phone in intervals. The radio picks up nothing new. Same looping civil emergency message. No location, no date, no updated instructions. I get online for exactly 6 minutes, long enough to access a message board thread posted by someone claiming to be a lab tech from Veltrixis. He says the pathogen was a dual-agent compound, engineered bacterium carrying a modified viral component. The original purpose was gene therapy delivery through a highly adaptive vector. It mutated inside the lab's animal trials, crossed into human subjects through accidental exposure. 8 confirmed deaths in the first week. Then, the leaks happened. His post ends with a warning. Do not go to clearance stations. You are not being tested. You are being processed. I save the thread, screenshot every comment. Someone replies a few minutes later, "This IP is being traced. Remove this post." The thread vanishes 30 seconds after I refresh the page. I try to upload a copy to another site. Connection drops. That night, we hear glass break 2 buildings over. Heavy footfalls follow. Not slow like before. These ones run. Oksana covers her ears and drops low. I look out the window and catch a blur of movement. 4, maybe 5 figures. Running bent forward, hands out, mouths open, no screams. Just breathing, hard and animal. Then nothing. The street goes quiet again, but it's a different kind of silence now. Thick, alert, like the city itself is holding its breath. We don't hear more glass. No screams, no chase. Just those few seconds of motion and then it's over. I close the curtain without speaking and step away from the window. Oksana stays on the floor. Miguel's already at the back stairwell. He doesn't ask what I saw. He felt it. You don't move like that unless something inside is broken or changed. We dim the lights and turn off anything that makes noise. Even the ticking wall clock in the break room starts to feel too loud, so Miguel takes it down and stuffs it in a drawer. Priya suggests sleeping in the hallway between the nurse's station and the second floor restroom. No windows, only one way in or out. We drag 3 mattresses from the storage room and line them up. 1 person on watch at all times. Rotation every 90 minutes. I take the last shift before dawn. The building creaks like it always does. Plumbing settling. Maybe rats in the walls. Normal sounds. But I jump at every one of them. I sit with the flashlight in my lap and the crowbar across my thighs, watching the stairwell door. My ears strain for anything off. Panting, scratching, voices that don't sound like real speech. None of it comes, but I still don't relax. Just after 6 o'clock, I hear something scrape along the roof. Not heavy. Could be debris, a loose gutter, maybe a bird. I don't move. I wait it out. The sound repeats, sliding, then a faint tap. Something touches the top of the vent pipe. Then gone. I don't hear it again. When the sun comes up, I pretend it didn't happen. We ration food again that morning. 2 packets of instant ramen, half a can of soup, 1 multivitamin each. We boil the water using a backup electric kettle Miguel wired into the solar rig. It eats 1/3 of the charge, but it's worth it. We need the heat and the salt. Oksana says she's going to check the stairwell cameras today. She spotted a disconnected DVR box in the main lobby yesterday when we were pushing the vending machine. If it still has power and a functioning hard drive, we might be able to see who was here before us. I help her dig it out. The cabinet's dented, but the drive lights up when we plug it into a wall outlet powered by the solar array. The screen boots. Password protected, but it defaults to admin. Old firmware. Easy override. We start scanning through the last few days of footage. First day, everything looks normal. A few patients, 3 staff members. Then an alert pops up on the screen. External feed disconnected. Cameras outside were disabled remotely. Inside footage continues for another 6 hours, showing staff moving fast. They're packing bags, dumping files. At one point, a woman in scrubs slams the front door shut, pushes a chair against it, and collapses against the wall. Then another figure appears in frame, middle-aged man, bleeding from the mouth, no ID badge. He walks straight through the hallway and into the exam room. He's calm at first. Then he starts slamming his head against the wall. No one's with him. He keeps going until he collapses. Bleeds out. The staff never check on him. They leave through the back carrying 2 boxes and what looks like a child in a blanket. We don't see them again. The timestamp says that was 6 days ago. No other footage loads past that point. The rest is corrupted. We shut it down and unplug it. Oksana stares at the blank screen for a while before she says anything. He didn't bite anyone, didn't chase, just walked in and ended it. I don't have a response. I don't think she wanted one. Later that afternoon, I climbed to the roof to check the panels. They're still intact, but one of the mounts is loose. Probably what made that noise last night. At least that's what I tell myself. I tighten the bolts and clear the leaves off the surface. When I turn to go back down, I notice something about 2 blocks east. There's smoke coming from the top floor of a 6-story apartment building. Not a fire. Controlled. A small column. Someone's burning trash maybe. Could be other survivors. I wait and watch for 15 minutes. No movement on the roof. No flags. No signals. Just the smoke. I head back down and tell the others. Miguel thinks it's worth investigating. Priya disagrees. She doesn't trust anyone we didn't meet before the collapse. Oksana says we wait a day. If the smoke's still there tomorrow, we go. That night is colder than the others. We hang thermal blankets over the windows and try to preserve the charge. No lights, no sound. We eat in the dark, just chewing and breathing. I scroll through offline files on the laptop, medical reference material, virology textbooks, some CDC protocols. Nothing helps. One file catches my attention. It's a PDF I saved from Veltrix's research portal back when I had access through NYU. It outlines a gene therapy platform that was supposed to use bacteriophage delivery inside aerosolized forms for chronic inflammatory treatment. One page lists side effects observed in primate trials: aggression, hypersensitivity to sound, photophobia, and loss of voluntary speech. They tried suppressing it with benzodiazepines. Partial success. I closed the file and shut the lid. The infected I saw last night moved like they were responding to a trigger. Maybe light, maybe sound. But they were fast. Not the kind of behavior you'd expect from the late stages of infection. Not rabies, not plague. Something new. Something designed. We hear footsteps outside again around midnight. This time slower, dragging. But not alone. Multiple sets. Not running, not shambling. Just steady pacing. We cut the lights and hold still. One of them stops directly in front of the building. We hear something metal tap the sidewalk. Then silence. Then whispering. Not words. Just hushed noise. Like someone mimicking a whisper but not forming language. Priya presses her hand against the wall. I grip the crowbar and don't move. Minutes pass. Then the sound of footsteps moving away. No running, no rush. Just walking off like they lost interest. Or marked the building and decided to come back later. Miguel checks the windows 20 minutes later. No sign of them. The next morning, the smoke from the apartment is still there. Same thin trail, same location. No change. We vote. 3-1 in favor of checking it out. Priya says she'll stay behind and guard the building. She has a kitchen knife and one of the flashlights. We leave at 10 sharp. Take only what we need. Light packs, crowbars, one radio. We approach the building from the south, staying behind parked vehicles and broken fences. The entrance is open, but the inner security door is locked with a chain from the inside. Oksana knocks once. Nothing. She knocks again. This time we hear movement upstairs. Something slides. Then a voice. "You infected?" Miguel answers, "No." "You been cleared?" "No." There's a pause. Then the chain drops. The door creaks open. A woman in her 40s stands in the hallway with a crowbar of her own. Her hands shake, but she's got a calm look in her eyes. She doesn't smile, just waves us in. Inside, the apartment smells like burnt plastic and kerosene. 2 other people sit in the back room. An older man with one arm and a teenager with duct-taped sneakers. The woman's name is Tamara. She says they've been holding this building for a week, salvaging batteries and boiling water on a camp stove. They don't want company, but they'll share a map. Miguel draws our route on a notepad. In return, we give them 2 cans of soup and a bottle of iodine we found in the urgent care. Fair trade. Before we go, Tamara circles 2 buildings on the map. One is an old radio store near Jersey Street. The other is a Department of Transportation depot at the north end of the island. She says the Veltrixis suits passed through both last week, marking doors and taking hard drives. No sirens, no uniforms, no medical gear, just grey jackets and scanning tools. They asked questions about communication equipment, not about health. Tamara didn't answer, and they moved on. We leave quietly, slipping through the alley behind the building and cutting back west toward the clinic. The street feels different now, not calmer, emptier, like people stopped hiding and simply left. Trash bags haven't been touched. Vehicles sit with their doors open, hoods up, contents stripped. One Jeep is missing all 4 tires, propped up with bricks and an office chair under the rear axle. No signs of violence, just fast, desperate scavenging. Back at the clinic, we find Priya reinforcing the second-floor windows with leftover shelving brackets and tape. She looks relieved when we walk in. No one followed us. She says there were 2 loud bangs near the intersection around 3 p.m., but nothing came close. She didn't leave the second floor. She didn't use the lights. She kept the flashlight under a blanket the entire time. We cook rice with the last of the soup broth that night, adding crushed salt tablets for flavor. It tastes like metal and ash, but no one complains. After we eat, I pull out the laptop and begin cataloging everything we've seen since leaving JFK. Routes, names, behaviors, approximate times of activity, encounters with infected and uninfected, sightings of the Veltrixis contractors. I write like it's a research log, not a journal. Clear structure, no emotion, no speculation, just what I know. At the bottom of the file, I tag it with a new header. Infection VXR17, observational data, New York zone, day 6 to day 9. I schedule the file to upload to 3 destinations when the signal allows. A secure mirror in Thessaloniki, an old account I still have access to at Berlin Medical University, and a darknet repository I used once during my internship to submit anonymous case data. I don't know if any of them are still active, but it's better than nothing. I encrypt the drive again and seal it in the waterproof pouch inside my waistband. Later that night, Miguel tells me he wants to go check the old radio store. Not for equipment, we can't carry much, but for antennas, tools, maybe a portable transmitter. He thinks it's possible someone outside the city is listening, and if we can boost our signal long enough, we might be able to reach another group of survivors. I'm skeptical, but I agree. Anything is better than waiting here to be found. At first light, we split up. Miguel and I head east toward Jersey Street. Oksana and Priya stay behind to hold the clinic. They rig another alarm on the stairwell and keep the second floor lights off. We take 2 crowbars, 1 flashlight, a compact backpack with snacks and water, and the portable radio we've been using for signal scans. The battery is fully charged. The antenna is bent, but still works. The walk takes 35 minutes. We move fast, low profile. Streets are mostly silent. Occasionally we hear movement in upper floors of abandoned buildings, but no one shouts, no one waves. Everyone's done with talking. Anyone left now doesn't want to be seen. When we reach the radio store, we find the glass front shattered, but the metal gate behind it is still locked. Miguel forces the gate with a tire iron we pulled from a wrecked sedan 2 blocks back. The door opens with a screech that makes both of us freeze, but nothing stirs. Inside, the shop's a mess. Shelves overturned. Floor is coated in broken plastic, cables, and torn packaging. It smells like old sweat and solder. The power's long gone. We work by flashlight. Miguel locates a shortwave set, stripped down but functional. He grabs the battery pack and a soldering iron. I find a weathered toolbox with a decent wire stripper and a coil of copper line. We're lucky. In the back room, we find something we weren't expecting. A map tacked to the wall, labeled by hand. Zones, colored dots, notes. It's dated and faded, but the notes match some of the places we've been. One label stands out. Tested, non-compliant. Scribbled in black marker next to a set of coordinates in New Jersey. Another reads, retrieval failed. Terminal. No context. Just these marks and a Veltrix's logo half torn at the corner of the page. We don't take the map. We photograph it instead. Folded paper can fall out of a bag. A phone can be destroyed, but photos will get backed up the moment we find a stable network again. We copy everything. Each note, each marked street. Before we leave, I stop in front of a locked cabinet near the rear exit. It's chained, but loose. Inside are several unopened boxes of lithium batteries. Miguel grabs 3 and stashes them in the pack. The trip back is uneventful until we hit Richmond Terrace again. Near the ferry dock, we hear movement ahead. We stop behind a parked truck and wait. A woman stumbles out from behind a trash bin. Her arms are torn up. She's bleeding. She's alone. She doesn't speak. Just walks forward. Slow, jerky. Her eyes are open, but unfocused. Miguel gestures to move around, but I hesitate. I look at her again. She's not growling, not moving fast, not lunging. She looks barely conscious. Then her knees give out. She hits the pavement hard and doesn't move. Not dead, not fully gone, just exhausted or in transition. I've seen this once before, back at NYU Langone, just before I left for the airport. A man in isolation did the same thing. Alive 1 hour, fully turned the next. We go around her. We don't check her pulse. There's no saving her now. Back at the clinic, Oksana is waiting by the stairwell with a kitchen knife. She lets us in fast and bolts the door. Priya's in the back, heating water using the last bit of solar charge. We eat fast and start working on the radio. Miguel rewires the battery housing and extends the antenna using the copper coil and a tension mount from a curtain rod. He sets the dial to 7.400 MHz and begins sweeping. White noise, tones, short blips. One voice, faint and male, fades in and out. Spanish or maybe Portuguese. Then it vanishes. He switches to emergency maritime bands. Nothing. NOAA bands. Just static. Then, faintly, on a frequency that shouldn't be transmitting at all, we hear something. A repeating loop. Male voice, heavily compressed. One sentence. Signal confirmed. Retrieval inbound. That's all. Over and over again. I record it. Timestamp it. Compare it to every known emergency protocol I can find in my local archive. It's not FEMA, not military, not Coast Guard. Definitely not amateur. Too clean. It's an intentional broadcast on a locked channel, probably coming from a fixed-point beacon. The implication is clear. Someone is still tracking active devices. Oksana raises the obvious question. What kind of retrieval? No one answers. We sit in silence, listening to the loop until it cuts off. No closure, just a hard stop, like the signal was turned off manually. The power goes out during the night, not just in the building, but outside. What little city light was left from street lamps or emergency signage disappears. Full blackout. Our building sits in complete darkness now, surrounded by blocks of quiet that don't even buzz anymore. Whatever grid was still flickering, it's gone. Miguel and I climb to the roof before sunrise to inspect the panels. The wires are intact, but the inverter is overloaded. He resets the breaker. We get a small charge flowing again, enough to keep the lights on for a few minutes at a time. It's enough. For now. The air up there feels colder than it should be for this time of year. The wind is constant now, like it hasn't stopped since yesterday. The buildings around us are still. Not abandoned in the obvious way. No fires, no broken walls, no rubble. Just still. As if no one has stepped outside in days. I look across the rooftops and count every chimney, every satellite dish, every possible silhouette. Nothing moves. Miguel checks the cables again, muttering something under his breath about load balances and heat thresholds, then gives me a nod. We leave the panels as they are and head back down. In the clinic, Oksana has stacked all the chairs and cabinets against the second-floor stairwell. She says she heard tapping on the lower glass door during the night. Not pounding, just tapping. 5 times, then nothing. Could have been wind, she admits, but she isn't sure. She didn't look. She didn't wake the rest of us. She just listened, waited, wrote it down. That's what she says now. If I write it down, I know it happened. I go downstairs later to check the front door. The outside glass is intact, still chained shut, but there are marks on the metal below it, smudges that don't look like fingerprints, more like prints from someone dragging their palm across the surface, but without pressing with force. 4 long streaks, dark and slightly oily. I scrape one with a blade. The residue smells faintly acidic, like copper mixed with burned hair. I don't say anything to the others. I don't wipe it off either. That afternoon, I try the radio again. I sweep the emergency bands, slow and methodical, logging everything. One channel has a loop of numbers spoken by a flat female voice. 2-digit pairs. No pattern. Could be a cipher. Could be something left behind by someone with a shortwave and a dying battery. Another band has an EAS warning from 2 days ago, repeating with increasing distortion each time the loop restarts. Then silence. No response on open call bands. No response on the Veltrix's frequency we logged earlier. At 14:32, something different comes through. Not a broadcast, but a 2-tone handshake. Sharp, digital, controlled. The kind of signal you'd expect from a drone or a tracking beacon. It lasts 5 seconds, then cuts. Miguel hears it too, and rewinds the recording twice. He says he's heard something similar before, during a work trip in Texas. His company used automated delivery drones to scan for service markers in rural areas. This wasn't a random broadcast. It was a query, looking for devices. I shut the radio down, unplug the antenna, pull the battery. We hide the rig under the floor panel behind the nurse's station. If someone is scanning for active transmitters, we can't risk being the ping that brings them in. Oksana raises a good point. What if someone marked our building? What if the touch on the door last night wasn't random? We've been careful. Lights low, no smoke, no talking near open windows. But if they're scanning for RF emissions, we've already been seen. That night, we move everything off the roof. Panels, cables, mounts, disassembled and stacked in the stairwell. Miguel does it without question. Priya and Oksana focus on building a second tripwire inside the back hallway using an old metal IV stand and a roll of gauze. I update my logs and seal a copy onto another flash drive. I don't sleep more than 20 minutes, and I keep my shoes on the entire night. At sunrise, Oksana notices something new. On the west side of the clinic, just above the first-floor window, someone has spray-painted a triangle. Not large, 6 inches across. Black paint, uneven. It wasn't there yesterday. She checks her watch and says it must have been done between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock. We were all inside. We heard nothing. That side of the building is facing a fenced alley. No windows overlook it. No reason for anyone to be there unless they knew we were inside. We debate leaving. Staying now feels like asking to be found. We don't know who marked us. Infected don't carry spray paint. Survivors wouldn't get that close without making contact. The only people we've seen using symbols are the Veltrix's field units, and they don't knock. By noon, we've packed. No more rationed comfort. No more boiling water for tea. Just what we can carry. Food, medical, light gear, the flash drives, the crowbars, and the knife. We strip all the labels off everything, leave the rest behind. I lock the clinic behind us, even though we know it won't matter. We decide to head northwest, toward the old National Guard armory that's marked on Tamara's map. She said it was cleared out early in the collapse, but no one saw it overrun. No smoke, no gunfire, just dark. It's not close, nearly 3 miles on foot through zones we haven't mapped, but if the walls are intact and the entry points are sealed, it could give us time to regroup. We move in pairs, staying within line of sight, changing pace often, doubling back twice to avoid narrow alleys. By 14 o'clock, we reach the edge of an industrial district filled with abandoned sanitation trucks and utility vans. Some have been stripped, others are still loaded with gear. One even has a generator mounted in the back, but it's bolted to the frame and we don't have the tools to free it. We keep moving. Half an hour later, we pass a school building. Windows are intact. No marks. No blood. The flag is still flying, tangled in the wind, half unhooked. Oksana spots movement in the doorway and raises her hand. We freeze. A child steps into view. 7, maybe 8 years old. Jeans, hoodie, no shoes. Dirty but standing. He sees us and doesn't run, doesn't speak, just looks. I take a step forward. He takes one back, but doesn't go inside. Then a voice calls out. Low, male, strained. Stay where you are. It comes from just inside the hall. We don't move. After 10 seconds, a man appears. Late 30s. Beard, bruised face, holding a bolt-action rifle. Not aimed, but ready. He says he has no supplies, no space, no intention of talking. He points to a piece of paper taped to the glass door. It says, "One infected inside, no entry. We stay until we can't." We nod and step back. We don't ask questions. We don't argue. We leave. That's the rule now. No contact unless invited. No questions unless you're dying. If someone is still sane enough to warn you away, you listen. We reach the edge of the residential zone an hour before sunset. The buildings change here. Row houses and duplexes. Narrow front yards, gates, driveways. Some have been boarded up. Some have burned. One has writing in white paint across the siding. "We are not sick. Do not enter." We bypass them all and continue north. Every few blocks, Miguel checks the map against the street signs. I monitor elevation and bearings. Oksana watches our flanks. Priya walks in the center. She's quieter now. Her limp is worse. She won't say it, but I can see the bruising is spreading. At dusk, we reach a ridge with a clear view of the armory. The outer fence is intact. No visible breach. The front lot is empty. No vehicles. No people. The main building is dark, but the rooftop beacon is flashing. Red light, slow pulse, still working. We move down the slope, cross the parking lot fast, and approach the fence. Miguel cuts the lock with bolt cutters we found in the sanitation yard. We slip through and shut it behind us. The front door is locked. We circle around the west side and find a loading dock with a gap under the roll-up door. Oksana slides through first, then Miguel, then Priya and me. Inside, the air smells of oil and old sweat. Everything echoes. No power, no light. Just dust and the distant creak of metal. We find an office near the rear and barricade the door. The windows are painted over. Good. No silhouettes. We check the interior. Empty desks, filing cabinets, one military cot, 2 chairs. Enough space for 4 people to sleep if we rotate. Once we've secured the door, Miguel checks the seams of the room for light leaks and sound carry. Oksana wedges a book into the base of the door to muffle any accidental footfalls. I roll up a half-torn uniform shirt and press it into the bottom corner. Priya sits in the corner with her back against the wall, arms crossed over her chest, her eyes open but unfocused, her ankles swelling again, and I can tell the infection risk is real. She hasn't said anything directly, but she's started holding herself differently, keeping the leg close, as if trying not to disturb something beneath the skin. After an hour of stillness, we open the radio case and reconnect the gear. The rooftop beacon we saw earlier is on a standalone circuit. Miguel thinks it's running off an isolated solar unit wired to an internal battery bank somewhere on the upper floors. He doesn't suggest trying to tap into it. Not yet. Not without knowing how exposed we'll be once we leave the office. We connect the antenna wire to a window mount and sweep frequencies slowly, rotating through every megahertz from 6.500 to 7.800. Most of it is white noise. At 7.432, we pick up a faint carrier. Not voice, not music, just a pulsing tone, like a heartbeat, repeating every 4 seconds. We log it, record 20 minutes of it. It never changes. There's no voice, no header, no call sign, No emergency preamble, just the tone. We compare it to the Veltrix's signal Miguel picked up back in the urgent care. But it's different, slower, less aggressive, like a passive locator, not a scanner. We try broadcasting a short call in reply. One word, repeated 3 times. Copy, then silence. 10 seconds, 30, 1 minute. Nothing comes back. We cut the transmitter and turn the radio off. I wrap it again in aluminum-lined foil and reseal the pouch. Oksana finds a map of the building in a drawer near the desk. Old yellowed blueprint. Looks like this office wing was part of a logistics extension added in the early 2000s. Main structure dates back to the 1960s. The armory itself has 3 sub-levels, 4 above-ground levels, and a rooftop access point. The second floor has a comms room. If the rooftop beacon is hardwired, it's controlled from there. If there's still power flowing through it, we might be able to tap into a backup relay and hijack the signal. We agree not to move until daylight. We sleep in shifts. Miguel takes first. I take second. Oksana takes the last stretch before sunrise. Priya insists on staying awake while the rest of us sleep. I don't like it, but we don't argue. I know she's worried about turning. She's doing everything she can to stay alert, not out of fear, but out of control. If she feels it happening, she wants to be the one who handles it. During my watch, I hear footsteps above us. 2 sets, not fast, just pacing. I don't wake anyone. I wait. I count the steps. They don't come closer. After 8 minutes, they stop. I never hear a door, just silence after that. I make a mark in my notes. I draw the shoe pattern I saw in the dust outside the office door. Wide toe box. Rubber heel worn down on one side. Someone has been here recently, and they still are. At dawn, we move, quiet, measured. We leave the gear behind and take only weapons. Miguel leads, crowbar in one hand, flashlight in the other. We pass 3 corridors. One leads to the gymnasium. The other 2 are stairwells. We take the center stairwell to the 2nd floor. The hallway is covered in debris. Broken chairs, file boxes, a vending machine tipped over and smashed. No blood, no bodies, just signs of a fast exit. Most doors are locked. The comms room is sealed with a steel door and an old keypad. Miguel pulls the faceplate off. The wiring behind it is intact. With enough time, he could bypass it, but time is the one thing we don't have. We go to the adjacent room, marked Equipment Storage B. The door is off its hinges. Inside, we find signal cable, spare antennas, and 2 battery packs labeled Beacon Control Model 3. The rooftop unit is definitely hardwired. It's not autonomous. Someone turned it on, and if it's still pulsing, then it's either been ignored, or it's a breadcrumb meant to lure others in. Miguel cuts the signal wire feeding the antenna. Nothing happens. The red light on the roof continues flashing. That means the circuit is redundant, powered through multiple paths. Smart design. Annoying for us. We decide to disconnect the entire power rail, but we need access to the basement. We backtrack. Before we reach the stairwell, we hear something below. Metal clatter. Not footsteps. Something being dragged. We wait. I press my ear against the cold wall. A thud. Then another. Slower than human pace. Then a pause. Then movement again. Not direct. Wandering. Not organized. Could be one of the infected. Could be someone pretending. We return to the office and gather the gear. I carry the radio now. Oksana handles the food pack. Miguel tapes a flashlight to the side of the crowbar using surgical wrap. We rig Priya's leg with a makeshift brace using 2 paint stir sticks and an ace bandage. She can walk, but not fast. If we have to run, we'll have to carry her. At 10:13, we leave the office for the basement. The stairwell is open, but dark. The emergency lights down there are dead. We use chemical glow sticks and keep them close to the floor. The air changes as we descend, stale, warmer, and carrying the scent of mold and metal. Basement level 1 is storage. Shelves, pallets, boxes of paper towels, a stack of expired MREs. No movement, no sound. We find the breaker panel behind a false wall. Miguel opens it and starts tracing lines. He finds the main feed into the rooftop circuit and disconnects the loop. The red beacon light outside goes dark. We all stop moving and wait. Nothing happens. No alarms, no drones, no movement from above. We breathe again. Miguel reroutes one of the battery banks into the office circuit. When we return upstairs, we now have 4 working outlets, 1 overhead light, and a steady enough current to run the radio again for limited bursts. We seal the stairwell and brace the doors using metal bars from a collapsed shelf. Then we sit and wait. 3 hours later, the building shakes. Once, sharp and sudden, like something hit the outer wall at high speed. We go silent. Miguel moves to the east window and peers through the smallest gap in the paint. He sees a drone, large, white shell, 4 rotors, and a boxy scanner unit on the bottom. It's hovering 20 feet from the rooftop. No sound except the blades. It stays for 10 seconds. Then it rotates and moves away. We don't speak for a long time. Priya sleeps most of the afternoon. She doesn't eat. Her skin is pale and dry. I take her temperature using a forehead strip. It reads 38.5. Not ideal, but not critical. Her eyes stay closed even when she's awake. I ask her if she wants to move. She says not yet. I update my logs again. Infection markers, symptoms, outside contact, radioactivity, and response delay. I begin writing in shorter entries now, 3 or 4 lines per event, bullet point style. In case someone else reads it later, I want the information accessible. I mark the day as Day 11 NY Sector. At 19:20, we hear a scream, female, not close, but loud enough to echo across the concrete lots and parking structures near the river. We freeze. A second scream follows, then silence. We wait 20 minutes before anyone moves. No follow-up, no shouting, just that single cry, left hanging in the dark. There's nothing we can do. No way to tell where it came from. Too many buildings. Too much echo. Could be 1 block over or 5. Could be a recording. Could be a trap. Could be someone trying to bait a reaction. Could just be what it sounded like. A person who didn't make it through the night. We don't investigate. We don't mark the time. We don't discuss it. We sit together with the lights off, the windows closed, and the radio silent. After a while, I stop expecting to hear anything else. No movement. No approach. Nothing new. Whatever happened is over. Out there, something ended. In here, something continued. Priya starts shivering around midnight. Her skin is pale, lips dry, breath shallow. She says she's fine, but her eyes don't focus anymore. She responds to her name, but she repeats questions. Her temperature spikes to over 40 degrees. I give her what little antibiotics we have left, though I know they won't help. The swelling in her ankle has moved into the lower leg. Discoloration has spread above the knee. Her breathing is still regular, but there's a smell now. Sharp, metallic, and faintly sweet. She asks me, quietly, what we'll do when she changes. No dramatics, no bargaining. She doesn't want promises. She just wants to hear that we'll be smart. Miguel says he'll take care of it if the time comes. Oksana just nods. She hasn't spoken much since we left the urgent care. She's changed too. Everyone has. We give Priya more water, keep her elevated. She sleeps, but lightly, waking every 30 or 40 minutes to drink or whisper something unintelligible. I write it all down. Her vitals, her changes. I keep the log clean, clinical, as if I'm still on rotation. I label the file as case progression, phase 3, suspected VXR17 pathogen, subject P1. At sunrise, she's worse, sweating through her clothes, muscles twitching in short, uneven bursts. Eyes no longer track movement. She groans when she breathes, as if the act itself hurts. Miguel checks the hallway twice. No movement outside. No new signals on the radio. The sky looks the same as yesterday. Grey, flat, unchanging. I wonder how long this weather will last. I wonder how long the city will. By 10 o'clock, it's clear we won't be staying here much longer. Even if Priya holds on another day, she can't move. She won't survive relocation. And if she turns, we don't have the space or tools to contain it. Miguel starts organizing the gear into 2 piles, carry and leave behind. I make a list. Oksana sharpens the knives again, but slower now, as if she's just keeping her hands busy. Before noon, Miguel finds a ventilation shaft in the hallway behind the mess room. It's narrow but clear, and it runs through the center of the building to an exterior fan cage on the north wall. He says we could use it as an escape route, but only one person can go at a time. If we get cornered, it might be the only way out. Oksana volunteers to check it first. She squeezes inside, crawls the full length, and reports that the grate at the end is rusted but movable. It opens into a small alley, no direct line of sight, no obvious danger. We decide not to tell Priya yet. She's barely conscious. No point in giving her information she can't use. I sit with her while Miguel and Oksana finish packing. She grabs my wrist once, briefly. Her grip is still strong. She says one thing, "Don't wait too long." Then she sleeps again. At 13:40, the lights flicker. Once, then again, then off. Miguel checks the breakers. The battery bank is still connected. No sign of tripped circuits. That means something outside cut the feed. I don't like it. He doesn't either. We disconnect the wiring and shut down the beacon line completely. Oksana kills the tripwires. We unplug everything. From the outside, the building is dark again. We sit in silence. Priya's breathing grows rough. Her jaw locks once, briefly. Her hands start twitching. I know the signs. Spinal nerve irritation. Breakdown in motor control. The virus is in her brain now. I've seen this curve before. In patients who didn't know what hit them. No chance of recovery. No reversal. No suppression. Just progression, and then collapse. At 17:05, she stops breathing for 7 seconds, then gasps, then again. We look at each other. Miguel doesn't say it. Neither do I. Oksana stands and walks to the hallway. She waits there, not looking in. She doesn't want to see the final moment. I understand. 17 minutes later, Priya stops moving. We give it another hour. We watch for twitching, pupil dilation, respiratory anomalies. Anything. But there's nothing. Her body goes still. Heat drops. No tension in the limbs. Just gone. Not turned. Not animated, just ended. Miguel wraps her in a tarp we found in the motor pool. I gather her notebook, med tags, and personal items. I place them inside the pouch and seal it. Oksana says we should bury her, but there's no ground left untouched, no soil we trust. Instead, we decide to leave her where no one will find her. We carry her to a sealed storage room on the lower level, lock the door from the outside, and mark it with 2 red lines. The same way the old paramedics marked dangerous quarantine rooms before the hospitals fell. No one speaks for a long time after. Miguel sits by the stairwell. Oksana curls into the corner with the bag, and her boots still on. I finish the case notes and encrypt the final version. Subject P1, deceased, turned, negative, contagion, unknown. That night, we talk about what's next. The armory is compromised. No power, no perimeter, no visibility. The drone hasn't returned, but we can't rely on that. We decide to head south by morning. Tamara mentioned a Coast Guard facility near the water. Abandoned early, but built like a bunker. If we can reach it and clear it, we might have a place to transmit from. The gear is lighter now. 1 less ration, 1 less voice. But we carry it anyway. At sunrise, we pack in silence. No final words. No hand on the shoulder. Just the sound of boots on tile and bags being zipped. I make a final note in the log. Leaving armory, heading south. No survivors remaining. We move behind the ventilation shaft, single file, keeping close to the wall, where the shadow from the adjacent scaffolding covers us from the street. Miguel checks the corner first, hand on the grip of the metal rod he picked up from a gas station wreckage 2 days back. Oksana follows with the flashlight lens taped over to reduce glare. I stay last, covering the rear, watching for movement in the dark windows above. Every second out here feels heavier now. Not chaotic, just loaded with potential for the wrong kind of attention. The street itself is silent. Not abandoned, not safe. Just between things. The kind of stillness you only get after the worst has already passed, but before whatever comes next has fully arrived. Wind pushes a trash bin across the intersection, its plastic wheels clicking over debris. We pass the same white van we saw 3 days ago, still half parked on the curb outside the shuttered pharmacy. The windshield's gone now. The seats are bare. No blood. No broken glass on the inside. Just quiet. Emptiness. Like whoever had been there was careful not to leave a trace. Up ahead, by the rusted roll-up gate of what used to be a hardware store, Miguel stops abruptly. He signals with 2 fingers. Something's on the wall. Spray paint. Bright blue against crumbling brick. A square with a horizontal line cutting through the middle. Not graffiti. Not random. It's fresh. Still glossy. The paint hasn't bled or faded. I step closer, and it hits me. The angle. The placement. The fact that it's about 6 feet up. Deliberately framed between 2 drain pipes. It's a code, one of the old ones Veltrixis used during their containment protocols, a mark for a controlled structure, or maybe a tagged asset. Miguel studies it for a moment, jaw set, then turns and keeps walking without a word. Oksana looks at me but doesn't speak. I shake my head. Not now. We cut across the next block using the cracked service road that runs parallel to the train line. We pause before emerging, 2 figures ahead, about 30 yards away. Shuffling across the street, half limping, half drifting like their limbs no longer understand rhythm. They're not hunting, not moving with any urgency, just out there, exposed. Their clothes are torn, soaked, and stretched thin from weather and wear. One of them turns its head too far, like the neck isn't fully stable. We wait. 30 seconds, then 60. They don't notice us. Eventually they veer off toward the old playground, and we backtrack to take a different path. Our route takes us through what used to be a staff parking lot for the community clinic. Most of the cars are stripped down to frames, their doors hanging open like ribs cracked apart. A burned-out motorcycle lies on its side near the entrance booth, its tires fused to the pavement. We move quickly, sticking close to the row of hedges, where line of sight breaks every few steps. Miguel leads without speaking, trusting instinct now more than any map. As we walk, I feel the weight of the drive in my coat pocket. The flash drive, the one from the downtown lab, stolen during that final hour before the fire suppression systems flooded the sublevel. Inside are the logs, the test records, the incident reports, thermal maps, case progression timelines, and something else I haven't dared to open yet, an encrypted folder marked S Protocol. No password prompt, no readme, just locked. We've kept it powered with the last portable charger, but we haven't risked connecting it since. Miguel thinks it might be a deadman cache, a release file triggered by connection to specific servers. I'm not sure I want to find out. Sometimes I wonder if it matters. If there's still anyone out there watching, logging access attempts, waiting for signals. We haven't heard a real transmission in over 72 hours, not since the weather took out our rig. The last thing we picked up was a scrambled burst from the east, maybe Jersey, maybe Long Island, talking about containment breach at Wexler 3. After that, just static. It's been 12 days since Terminal 4. I keep replaying that night. The scanners, the man in the grey suit, the families with red-coded bands on their wrists, ushered into side doors and never seen again. 11 days since the charter bus overturned, trying to avoid the barricade on Queens Boulevard. That was when the screams changed, when the voices from the injured shifted from pain into something else. 7 days since we reached the first outpost and found only claw marks and melted wiring. 3 days since we powered down our last uplink and accepted that help wasn't coming, at least not from anywhere official. We don't talk much anymore. Everyone knows what's left to say. Food is low, batteries lower. Miguel's foot hasn't healed right since the glass injury. Oksana barely sleeps. She's taken to standing watch with her arms wrapped around her knees, rocking slightly like it helps keep her awake. I've stopped marking time in hours. It's all measured in risk now. How long we can stay in one place. How long a flashlight can stay on. How long a door stays quiet before it becomes a target. We keep moving because stopping feels worse. Because somewhere in this flooded, silent zone of ruined clinics and barricaded storefronts, there might still be a signal tower that works. A laptop with clearance. A node that still pings home. If we find it, maybe we can push the data through. Maybe someone will see it. Maybe it will matter. Until then, we carry what we can. Evidence, memory, wounds, and each other. That's not hope, it's just motion. And sometimes, that's the only thing that keeps you alive. That's all for now. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to keep the stories alive. For now, stay quiet, stay vigilant, and stay alive. Jack's Nightmares, signing off. Until next time, survivor.